Granton, one of the harbours that line the coast of Edinburgh. Leith Docks, the most important harbour on the east coast of Scotland and the centre of the commercial empire run by Forth Ports plc. The Scottish office is about to move almost 2,000 civil servants from the centre of Edinburgh down to this dockland. And the plans to develop the area include a glitzy new terminal for the cruise liners which now regularly use Leith Docks. Portobello, Edinburgh's seaside resort cum suburb. The exotic name comes from a house built in the 1740s by a seaman who made his money plundering the Spanish colony of Portobello on the Isthmus of Darien. The little harbour at Fisher Row near the honest town of Musselburgh. Preston Pans. It was near here that Charles Stuart's Highland Army scattered Sir John Cope's force, the first battle in the last Jacobite uprising. The Cockenzie Power Station. It was built to burn coal from the Lothian coal mines. The harbour at Port Seaton, or Seatown. It's still a working port, although only a shadow of its former self. It was founded in the 16th century by Lord Seaton. When Seaton, who was a Jacobite, fled to France, the harbour was taken over by the York Buildings Company of London. Gosford House, the East Lothian seat of the Earl of Wemyss. It's the last and largest house built in Scotland by the great Robert Adam. The island of Fidra, now owned by the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. North Berwick, the East Lothian resort that used to advertise itself as the Biarritz of the North. In Edwardian times, North Berwick's breezes and beaches were fashionable with the Edinburgh gentry. Now, the town's outdoor swimming pool is about to be closed, to the dismay of locals and holidaymakers alike. The summit of Berwick Law, the 613-foot-high old volcano that rises to the south of the town. The final part of the journey takes us from the Bass Rock down to Dunbar, across to St Abb's Head and Berwick upon Tweed. The huge lump of sandstone known as the Bass Rock. The rock rises more than 350 feet out of the sea and is one of the most important gannetries in Britain. In the killing times of the 1680s, the castle on the rock was a prison for Covenanters. There has been a lighthouse and a foghorn on the Bass since 1902. And on the shore opposite the Bass Rock, the red sandstone ruin of Tantallon Castle, one of the best defended coastal fortresses in Scotland. Tantallon was built in the 14th century by the Red Douglas Earls of Angus. It's now in the care of Historic Scotland. The rock, known as Baldred's Boat. The legend is that the rock used to lie out to sea and was a peril to shipping until St Baldred sailed it onto the beach out of harm's way. The town of Dunbar, where they carved through a castle to make the entrance to the harbour. In 1388, Dunbar Castle was held against an English invasion force by Black Agnes, the daughter of the Earl of Murray. Her ghost is said to flit among the ruins. the squat grey-on-grey shape of the Torness nuclear power station. The little harbour at Cove, gouged out of the high sandstone cliffs. The houses, which used to belong to fishing families, are now owned by holidaymakers or retired people. The high cliffs of St Abb's Head, now the property of the National Trust for Scotland. The place takes its name from Ebba, or Ab, the daughter of a 7th century king of Northumbria. Ebba is said to have been shipwrecked here, and out of gratitude to God for saving her life, she created a nunnery at the top of the cliff. The settlement was destroyed at the end of the 9th century. St Abb's Head Lighthouse. The little harbour of St Abb's, just to the south of St Abb's Head. A huge caravan site near the town of Eyemouth, the last fishing harbour on our journey around the Scottish coast. Eyemouth still recalls the disaster of October 1881, when its fleet was almost wiped out in a freak storm. 45 boats sailed out and only 26 came back. But the new harbour is beautifully sheltered at the mouth of the River Eye. The hamlet of Bournemouth, at the foot of a 200-foot-high grassy cliff. The harbour was built around 1830, was once home to 25 boats, and was often accessible when Berwick or Eyemouth were stormbound. This tiny town has a historic significance beyond its size. It's the first major village on the east coast of Scotland, and 2 treaties between Scotland and England were signed here, one in 1384, the other in 1497. South into England, and the Queen Elizabeth Pier and breakwater at the harbour of Berwick upon Tweed. Berwick stands as a full stop to our journey around Scotland's coastline, joining us through a millennium of history and experience to our southern neighbours. It marks the start of England and the end of the edge of Scotland.